Hey guys, welcome back to another stream. I apologize. Completely messed up the time and said that this was starting at 7 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. because I got completely confused with the time difference and I logged on at the right time, but I said it wrong. But I'm super excited because today I have Eunice back on the channel, my birthday twin, as you guys know, if you've been an OG for a while. And it's been a while, Eunice. So I'm super glad to have you back on. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Yeah, birthday twin. It's been a while now, but thank you for having me on. It's good times, hopefully. It's getting
Hopefully.
tasty. Champions League, what's happening, the club, it's all chaos. So loads to discuss.
It is all chaos. It
Yeah.
is. So let's just jump right in. Obviously, Chelsea have a Champions League game tonight. I saw reports like maybe this isn't even happening. I didn't know what was going on with that, but I think the game is going on. We don't have to worry
It's
about
going
that.
ahead. Yeah.
Chelsea have a 2-goal advantage from the reverse fixture. Is this enough for Chelsea to go through?
It should be. I mean, this is why in the first leg I was like, I want the third goal. I was
Yeah.
for the time we were after the second goal, I was like, please just score a third, kill this whole tie. If we get a third, it's finished. I'd like to think it's still going to be done. I'm expecting a win tonight. My gut is telling me maybe a 1-1, but that would see us through. So regardless, Lille have to score twice. That's the more of the story here. So I'm quite confident we'll go through. And yeah, the game is definitely happening. I mean, UEFA did put out something quite quick, which didn't actually get picked up by a lot of people, weirdly enough, but they did say the game won't be affected. We know EU sanctions have happened, but the game's going ahead. So thank goodness for that. But I'm expecting a win. I'm expecting a win.
I am too. I mean, even if you look at Lille's recent form, they have 3 wins, 2 draws in their last 5 games. They're currently sitting in 6th in Ligue A. And like you said, 2 goals is a lot. They are going to have that home team advantage. So, of course, that will play into their favor. But I don't know about you. Well, I'd love to get your take on this. The past couple of games, I don't think Chelsea have played well at all, like against Norwich or against Newcastle, especially against Newcastle. I wasn't expect like what more can you really expect from this team? I mean, the team is going through a lot. I'm affected. It's affected my mood,
Yeah.
everything that's been going on. So how can the players not get affected? So then they're in the limelight and having to play these games. Of course, it's difficult, and I'm not expecting a good game, but what are your expectations maybe going into this match and how the team is going to perform?
I honestly, I mean, yeah, there's loads of factors with what's going on, and it's affected all of us, and we're just fans. I mean, imagine the players who actually have to represent like the manager Tuchel. But no, you know what? I think before this whole thing happened, remember we were all saying we're kind of playing like a cup team this season. In the league, yeah, we tend to maybe struggle a little bit, pick up results, or sometimes we don't. Recently, we have, despite all that's going on, so that's a good sign. But in the cups, we look ruthless. And the first leg of the Champions League, these sort of rumors had already begun to start, and we played fantastic. So tonight, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different competition, it's a different vibe. You know what it's like, knockout stage of the Champions League. It begins to feel. I think it's easy to forget your problems when it gets to the knockout phase of this competition. The lights, there's a feeling. So
Music, yeah.
exactly, it's a different vibe. So I think the players will be fully up for it. I'm expecting a good performance.
That's really interesting. So let's talk about maybe some of the players. Like, I feel bad that we have not talked in so long, and I don't know any of your current views with anything that's going on. But I guess that makes a good stream so that we can talk about all of this. Uh, the biggest one for me, I think, is who do you see starting up front for Chelsea? Because obviously Lukaku's been dropped, man. He's been a bench 100 million player has been resorted to the bench
Yeah.
for Chelsea, and Kai Havertz has been on freaking fire lately. I think he has like 5 or 6 in his in like the same amount of games, which is
Yep.
incredible. And I know that we've always been kind of going between like who's our best attack. Like we have so many attacking players. Who is it? So for you in this match, and kind of given like the injury issues, I guess as well, that affects like if we play back 4, back 3. But who's your starting attackers for this match?
Well, I mean, firstly, there's no way Lukaku's getting back into this team with Kai Havertz playing the way he's playing. That's just it's a no. It's not happening.
Spit my water, and we're not even joking. It was just so blunt. I was like,
I mean, it's true. I mean, I've given my fair share of criticism for Lukaku, and I've been waiting for him to at least just be put to the bench because give the opportunity to someone. I thought it was going to be Timo. I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect Havertz to be used as the main man because we know he's a false nine, or he was a false nine, and now he's playing as an actual nine. So he's been killing it. So I'm expecting him to start without doubt, and I'm expecting him to start for the remainder of the season because his confidence has probably gone through the roof right now. 5 goals in 5 assists. I mean, all sorts. He's doing everything right. So he starts tonight. I think in terms of the way we set up, I'm going with a back 3, not a back 4, because we are defending a result technically. I don't think we're going to go recklessly attacking in terms of trying to score as many goals as we can. I don't think that's going to be the case. We'll be smart with it. So I'm expecting a back 3. So a front 3 in that aspect. Mine personally would be the same front 3 that beat Lille in the first leg. Havertz, Pulisic on the left and Ziyech on the right. Personally, I think maybe either Ziyech or Pulisic won't be starting and we'll get Mason Mount instead.
mm-hmm.
But my opinion, I'd go with Pulisic, Ziyech and Havertz just because they done the job in the first leg. Do it again now.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel really bad for not for Havertz, for Ziyech, because I feel like just as he's starting to find form, like it happens every time, he'll be kind of like the one who's finding attacking form, and then he gets injured, and then somebody will come in and kind of take his place, and then he has to fight for his spot again.
Yeah.
So I completely understand why you would say Ziyech, Pulisic, Havertz. I definitely think Havertz and Pulisic are starting to get this like special link up together. Like I really like the look of their partnership, and I saw this crazy stat that was like out of the times that they start together, like they are contributing to each other's goals and assists like pretty consistently. So I really like the look of that. And I think for me personally, it's between Ziyech and Mount. I don't really have like a strong preference because maybe if you asked me a couple of weeks or months ago, I would have said yes, 1,000% Mason Mount, but he hasn't been putting in like the best of performances recently either.
Yeah.
I think he's also probably just super tired because he has not had a break like in forever. He goes from playing every game for Chelsea, the Champions League, to the Euros for England. He has like a short break and then right back into it with a super congested schedule. So I would kind of go for either of those, but I want to talk about Lukaku a bit just to get your thoughts on this. Like what it's not feasible that Chelsea have this player just sitting on the bench. And I like that Tuchel played him for a large number of games and he said, I'm starting him. He's not scoring any goals. We're struggling to score goals as a team. He benches him. Kai Havertz comes in. All of a sudden, the attack looks way more fluid. We're creating a lot more. Havertz is getting his goals. Very difficult for Lukaku to come back into the mix. What happens with Lukaku now?
It's a mess. It's a mess. I think in hindsight, and this is the thing, in hindsight, you never know how it's going to show up until it actually happens. So I have to stress, in hindsight, it was the wrong signing. We shouldn't have made that signing. And I think we're all guilty of that because I was advocating for him to be signed. All of us, I think, were. If it wasn't going to be Haaland, was like, yeah, okay, let's just go and get Lukaku. And at the time, I mean, it felt fantastic. You know, since that point, though, and since he's done that interview, that's completely where everything got ceased. And on the pitch, I just don't know what's wrong with him. I don't want to label it as intentional, but I have to say I'm not going to come in and lie and say it doesn't look like it's intentional. But at times it looks like it's on purpose, although I'd like to think it's not, right? Because professionals are professionals. But the way he moves, like I have an issue with the decisions he makes in terms of the run that he picks, his body language, his what he decides to do on and off the ball. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And then I see Kai Havertz come on and he shows him how it's done. You know, we have Timo on the other side, who is the other extreme. Lukaku doesn't move. right? And then we ask for someone that does move, and Timo does move, but he does everything else wrong. So it's like two extremes. And you got Kai, who's doing everything that a striker is needed to do. With
Mhm.
Lukaku, it's tough because he's 100 million. If he cost 50 million, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the
Yeah.
fact that he's 100 million, it's the club's record signing. Um, Personally, I don't see a way back. I don't see it, and I think it's going to get to a point where Chelsea just have to cut a loss. And I think maybe it could be a blessing in disguise with what's happening at the moment, because if a new owner were to come in, we're starting from fresh, and he's coming
Yeah.
with his money, and he didn't make that signing. He's found it. So he can just be like, look, we'll get rid of you, and I'll sell you for 20 million if I could. I don't care, because he's starting from fresh. So I think, you know what? If it comes to it, we just have to try and find a potential suitor who's interested in Lukaku, even if it's a loan for a season, see how he gets on, up the value maybe a little bit, and then get rid. Especially if we're going to be getting Broja back in, and hopefully we do. Maybe Broja and Havertz are enough in terms of what we need up top. So, yeah, personally, I would try and find a way out for him.
Yeah, and I really like what you said about like his movement, because like it's shown like Kai's movement is so good that he's creating things and he's creating space and he's moving around. And I always see Kai doing that. And the thing with Lukaku is, the thing that I don't understand about the signing is that like it feels like Chelsea didn't necessarily do like their homework, because if you know how
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel likes to play, that Thomas Tuchel likes to have the ball, he likes to press as a unit, he likes to have a lot of possession, and for the front three to kind of intertwine and change, create space, and then you have Lukaku who doesn't do that, and he
No.
plays maybe more on the counter. He likes to run at defenders, use his body, which is something that Chelsea really aren't doing. They're not playing balls into him. And in the Premier League especially, every time I've seen him, he's had two or three players surrounding him, and it's like very difficult for him to be able to be useful because it just gets shut down immediately. So I don't understand, like you said, hindsight is 2020. I was hopeful about this signing. Like, okay, he's done incredible for Inter Milan, one of the top strikers in the world. Hopefully, he can replicate that at Chelsea. But if you look at the two styles of play, I feel like they are just so incredibly different from each other.
Completely.
So I don't know why we made the sign. Like you said, to the new owners, it gives it a good opportunity to maybe start fresh with a lot of these players.
Yeah, and I think the squad in general, there is a lot of deadwood in the squad. That we need to think of you moving on, seeing exactly where we need reinvesting. But with Lukaku, I just think everyone read the situation wrong. I think what we thought what we were going to get was a striker that's going to be able to come in deep, link up, get in behind space, and use his power and size and speed in order to get through and score goals, just like he did at Inter. We're not getting that. We're not getting that because he's not moving. He looks heavier. He doesn't receive as much as I think he would like. And every time he is on the brink of getting a ball, he seems to move away from it, which is what I don't understand the movement, because Kai Havertz moves exactly how a striker's meant to move, in the
Yeah.
right directions. Nothing works. Nothing works. And then in the Premier League, unlike Serie A, you don't find those serious high lines or, play that's based mainly on technical ability rather than actual tactics, because in the Premier League it's so tactical and you have defenses that are there ready to put two or three on one man. It's all calculated, and I think Lukaku gets shunned out of each game very, very easily. So yeah, it's just we all read the situation wrong. I feel we all made the mistake, and the club included. Let's just start again.
Let's just wipe it. It's done. That's it. Yeah, it does feel like that. But I'm really glad that Tuchel has said, you know what, this isn't working. I don't care about the price point. I'm not going to force something that isn't working. And he's going to be
Exactly.
playing off of the bench until he shows that he can score some goals, which I really like that about Thomas Tuchel and his philosophy. Kind of turning it back to the game. We talked about the starting front three that you'd like to see. Let's talk about the defense, because I've been saying this on my channel for literally forever. Like, Ben Chilwell and Reece James are so freaking integral to how Chelsea play in the system and how we attack and how we defend. And we saw
Oh yeah.
Reece James come back for a couple of games and how important he was. Now he's injured yet again. And we're kind of back, and we've seen Tuchel kind of tinker with a back four because we don't have the wing backs in order to implement the system. We've seen Sarr and Saul being implemented at left wing back ahead of Alonso. I think he was injured or sick or something as well. Apparently, Alonso and Aspie are they're both back now. But who do you play across that back line?
Yeah, they're both apparently ready to start tonight. So personally, because if we're going to a back three, which I think we will, just to try and defend the result, as well as, maybe try and launch a counter, I'd go Alonso and Aspie because we don't have anyone else that can really play those positions. That's it. Reece James might be on the bench. I stress. I don't think he will. So Aspie on the right. Left wing back, no one can do it except Alonso right now. So Alonso on the left. And then the centre backs, all three of them, to be honest, I'd probably go with Rudiger, Silva, and Christensen. Even though Chalobah's looked like he's had a mistake in him for the past few games. So I'm like, for tonight, because it's a big game, we need to get to the quarterfinal, have a rest. Bring Christensen in, and that's it.
Did he get away with a penalty versus Newcastle?
It should have been a penalty. Personally, I think it should have been a penalty easily. He was pulling his shirt like he wanted it. I'm surprised he didn't take off his shirt and give it to him
in the box. Like, why pull his shirt? It's just better.
There was no need. Exactly. Yeah. There was no need. If he just went onto the inside of him and trying to get the player onto the outside, that's it. Just divert him. Don't get him near to the goal. But he was pulling him. It's just naive. It's naive, and it's his first full season, so I cut him some slack, just like we did with Reece James. He was making mistakes in his first full season. So yeah, overall, I'm still happy with him. But tonight is an important night. We need stability. So I would play Christensen, Silva, and Rudiger.
Interesting. And in that midfield, who are you putting?
Kante, Kovacic, personally. Even though, don't get me wrong, Jorginho against Newcastle, what an assist. I mean, that was a world-class assist.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That was unbelievable. And that's what Jorginho can do. But again, tonight, we're defending a result. I feel like Lille are going to be coming at us, and we need to be robust. We're going to be launching those counterattacks, I feel. So Kovacic, who we know likes to drive with the ball, Kante, who we know now likes to drive with the ball as well, but both of them are solid defensively. I'd prefer that. That. If we were chasing a game, I'd put Jorginho in, but we're not. So,
yep. Let's. I really think that that's the team that we're going to see as well. I completely agree. I think we might see Mount for Ziyech. That's the only piece that I'm not too sure about, but otherwise, I think yes, absolutely. What's your score prediction for this match?
I said this on my preview, so my gut saying 1-1 or something, because I feel Lille are going to come ready for this game. But last time I did that, I thought Burnley were going to get a 1-1 draw against us, and we killed them. So I'm going 2-0 Chelsea. 2-0 and then 4-0 on aggregate. Sorted.
Interesting. Guys, if you guys watched my stream with Matisse yesterday, I don't even remember what I predicted because it's only been a day, but it's just been so wild. I don't like predicting draws for Chelsea games. Like, I tend to just always predict that we're gonna win. But I could see a 1-1. I'm gonna go for maybe a 2-1. I feel like maybe Lille score.
You're going in between.
Yeah, but I still think that we're going to go through. I do. I have this super chat. Really, you really wanted me to show this comment if you gave a super chat.
You got a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I'm American. No, I don't really care if the owner is American or not. I couldn't care less. Prevent American owners at all costs. So I do want to talk about the ownership situation. Thank you though for the super chat though. I do really appreciate it. Every day, Eunice, it feels like there's different reports coming out about the ownership, and one day Todd Bowley's leading the race with his consortium, Then one day it's the Ricketts family. Then I saw Woody Johnson from the Jets. And as an American from New York, I was thinking, oh my God, the Jets, like, no, we, we must stay away. Then we saw that the Saudis are interested as well. There's a lot. So what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on this ownership situation? Like the front runners, who you kind of want, maybe the pros and cons of each one.
I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I think the ones that seem the most stable, weirdly enough, I think is the Saudi group. Um, the Todd consortium, I definitely think are technically front runners, especially in terms of if they were to face a test, the Premier League and the owner and directors test that they have to face, or whoever's going to be taking charge has to face. I think they'd pass that easily. So I think that's where they're probably leading. The one issue I have with that, because I've heard Todd Bowley is quite good for the Dodgers and what he's done. He's apparently, again, this is just paraphrasing what I've heard from multiple people who are familiar with American sports. You could probably say the same. Is that
I
he's
literally was like, are the Dodgers baseball or football, like American football? Yesterday, I
oh
was like,
okay, so you're not the right person.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it's baseball, but I wouldn't bet much money on that.
I
So
mean, yeah, they're baseball. What I've heard is that he's he's like about winning, and wants to see success, and it's not just money, money, money. So I hear that and I think, okay, fair enough. But the one issue I have with that consortium is that they've got Goldstein in as a third partner. He is a lifelong Tottenham supporter. I mean, and this is why Nick Candy, the British billionaire here, who's not worth that much.
yeah,
Well, I say not that much. He's worth 1.1 billion. I mean,
yeah,
that's enough. But uh, I
just
mean,
one
it's
for
just like
one
Matisse.
then.
I mean, yeah, it's just like Matisse said. He was saying, now we're actually talking billionaires and saying, oh, you're broke. Like, Nick Candy isn't worth enough. But he got offered to come in as part of that consortium, and out of loyalty to Chelsea, he doesn't want to go with that consortium because Goldstein is a Tottenham supporter. So, and fair play Nick Candy on that, because I think that's logical. I would personally, I wouldn't want a Tottenham fan owning the club, because at
It
that
makes
point, I
me
think
think
they
like
would just
why he wants to own it, like surely
money,
just for the money.
and this
Yeah,
is what I
that
don't want. I
yeah,
don't want someone coming in just for financial interest. There
yeah.
has to be a side of I want this club to succeed. So, despite them being front runners, there's that. The Ricketts are dead, as far as I'm concerned. After what's happened today, and if you don't know what's happened, I don't think there's any chance that they'll even be looked at now,
Wait,
because
fill me in because I've literally been working until
the
now.
Ricketts. So who's the head of what? Because they say the Ricketts, but the person leading the Ricketts, he owns the Cubs, Chicago
Yeah.
Cubs. He's now been exposed as an Islamophobe, and quotes that were said, I think a couple of years ago or something, or 3 years ago, of direct quotes from him, which there's just no room or place for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that bid is dead in the water, because Chelsea fans on social media today have erupted, and they're going, no, we're not having you
I
at
can't
all.
keep up, Eunice. Like I can't keep up. They every day, like every hour, it feels like it's something.
It's
Um,
non-stop.
it's
It's
nonstop. It
non-stop.
truly is. And what do you
Yeah.
think about Woody Johnson, owner of the Jets? If you guys don't know, like I don't know much about American sports, which is very ironic since I'm American and I'm from New York. The Jets are a New York football team. I don't remember the last time they've competed. I posted it on Twitter. Alex Goldberg told me they are terribly run, probably like the
Yeah.
worst run sports franchise that you're going to find out there.
Yeah.
And apparently he's put in $2 billion bid as well. Are you
But
nervous about this one?
I don't know if he's doing that individually or if he's part of the Ricketts. Well, because they were going to form, I think, a consortium as well.
Yeah, shit.
So
Okay.
if that was to be combined, well, they're both as bad as each other then, like in that case. So hell no, thank you very much. But I saw what Alex Goldberg said, and yeah, I can trust his word on that because I know he's very familiar with sports over in the United States. So look, in terms of my view, Ricketts, Woody, no thank you. The Todd consortium, I mean, they look favourable, but Goldstein, I don't want a Tottenham fan running the club.
If we could swap Goldstein for Nick Candy, they both have that
That would be
proper
okay.
development experience. Yeah,
There we are.
now we're just playing mix and match with the potential Chelsea owners and creating our perfect
This is the
one.
thing with Nick Candy, because Nick Candy's interested, but I just don't think he has the funds. I just don't think he needs partners, and the deadline is in less than 48 hours. I don't think he's going to get it in on time. He might submit a bid, but in terms of actually getting through, I don't think he'll be able to if he hasn't got partners ready alongside him who are loaded. And the Saudi media group, they just look ready. They look ready. They're just like, it looks like they're just waiting for the green light. But the thing with them is obviously they're going to have to go through extensive vetting, and that Premier League owner and directors test might take a little bit longer than it would with anyone else. So that's the only downside. But in terms of going to a final bid, I think they'd have money ready. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be one of them. If I'm putting a guess, I think it's going to be either the Todd consortium or Saudi media. One of them, I think, will be taking the club. That's my opinion.
Those are my exact thoughts as well. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Todd consortium. If I had to predict something, solely for the reason of what you said, that they have to pass this test. And I think Chelsea especially are going to try to select an owner that they know is going to be able to take over the club, because the longer that they're in this like weird limbo state, the worse it is for them, the more drama there is around the club. I think they're going to try to sell it as quickly as possible. I don't know how long it would take for the Saudi media group to go through with this. I know Kendall, she's my Newcastle friend, told me like for them it took forever to try to get this sorted. But if you had to make a prediction, who's buying Chelsea? Who's it going to be?
Logically, on paper, you'd be foolish to not think it's not gonna be the Todd consortium. But with Boris Johnson and the sports minister, ironically enough, who are out in Middle East today and meeting with Saudis in order to get an oil deal done at the same time, Boris come out publicly and said that we welcome investment from Saudi Arabia. We welcome that. And he had a sports minister with him. So you put two and two together. And this deal, this sale of the club needs to be approved by the government. So the Rain Group will get everything sorted, and then they have to get that approval from the government. The government are already out in Saudi. So I think personally, for their own interests, they might be pushing that deal. But if that takes too long and they're forced, then they'll probably go with the Todd consortium. But right now, I think it's difficult to call because of political interest. That's my honest opinion. It's hard to say.
Which one is better for Chelsea? Which one's the better potential owners? Not and taking into account, maybe Goldstein is a Spurs fan, but if you look at everything holistically, the investment, the team, the fan, like how passionate they would be about the club, who would be the better owner?
Honestly, it's hard to split them because for what I've heard is both of them seem to have a good plan. It's difficult. It's difficult. I know that money is obviously going to be unlimited with the Saudi side. I think you'd get less. Let's say it's not meant to be political, but I think you get less political issue with the Todd consortium. But in terms of the club, I think both of them have a plan. I think both of them have the same plan. I heard the Saudi group say that they're ready to invest in the men's team, the women's team, the academy, open up academies in the Middle East, try and expose the women's game in the Middle East using what Chelsea are able to bring, and vice versa in terms of talent to Chelsea Football Club, infrastructure, investment. And then I've heard the Todd consortium apparently going with, Yep, there's money ready to be injected into the men's team and the women's team and the infrastructure. I'm like, okay, well, cool. As a club, we look like we're sorted. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Although in the long run, you would know that if it came down to money, the Saudis are unlimited.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Makes sense. How important is it for you that Stamford Bridge is reconstructed? Because I know that that's like a massive talking point that
Yeah.
it's going to require a lot of investment, in
Yep.
Chelsea and Stamford Bridge are really falling behind in that aspect of the stadium capacity and ticket sales. Compared with the likes of the top teams. So is that something that you think that's important for the next owner to focus on, either expanding Stamford Bridge or even finding a new location? How would you feel about a new location, by the way?
This is the thing. Like again, just going back to the previous point, both of them have spoken about stadium development, and they're ready. So that's good. Personally, it's at first I'd say maybe about a year, 2 years ago, when we were talking about the stadium, I was like, no, I want to stay here. I want us to keep this. This is home. Like, don't change it. Because I look at Arsenal, and when Arsenal moved from Highbury to the Emirates, all the Arsenal fans complained that special feeling and soul is gone. It's not like
Mhm.
how it was at Highbury. Tottenham fans with White Hart Lane and now moving into this spaceship that they have as a stadium. Some of them talk about the same thing. I know that's going to be the same for us, but logically, as a club going forward, we need a new stadium. We
Yeah.
need a new stadium, man. I mean, Tottenham are making £40 million a year more than us on revenue during a match day because of their size. And because we have 40,000 or 42, we need to expand.
Yes.
So exactly, it's key. It's key. In order for us to grow and develop and stay as a top team, we need a new stadium. Expanding Stamford Bridge would be my perfect option,
Yeah.
but it's so difficult. I mean, you've been to Stamford Bridge, you've seen
Mhm.
it. So
Yeah.
with the train tracks immediately on one side, with residential
Yeah.
areas immediately on the other, it's so contained. You can't expand. You can go
Yeah.
up, but to go up,
Yeah.
you can't go any further up. You've seen Stamford Bridge. You can't
Yeah.
add
Yeah.
more stands on that. It won't support. So you're gonna probably have to take everything down, then maybe try and enlarge it a little bit, maybe dig in deep. But there's an underground underneath. There's a station. So
There's
it's
not
a
much.
problem.
Yeah. There's not much option.
It's a problem. So moving, where do we move to? That's another dilemma.
I have no
Um,
idea about the geography over there.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. But we do need a new stadium, 100%. I'd love if it as if it's at the same location. I think I'd be happy enough. But we need a new
Yeah,
stadium.
I know living here in Madrid, like the same thing happened to Atletico de Madrid, and they had their stadium like pretty
Yeah,
central, and then they moved it out. But I went to the one, and now I was speaking to a couple of Atletico fans, and they're like, yeah, we love the one the Metropolitano now,
that looks
that
fantastic.
like, and that they felt like, oh, I don't know, like I don't want to move, and then they did, and the Wanda is like this incredible stadium now. And I was sitting like the highest that you could possibly be, like the very last row, almost the very last row. But you still saw everything so well. Like there literally is not a bad seat in that
It's
stadium.
quite
You
high though,
see
isn't it?
everything. Yeah, it's pretty high, but you can still make out everything. Like for that Along, I was at the Champions League, and for the Alonga goal, I immediately saw the space open up, and I was like, he's scored. Like he's definitely scored. Uh, so maybe it's something positive. I just wanted to share this comment with you. I thought that maybe you would appreciate it. I've been kind of holding on to it for the past 20 minutes or so. But yeah, like credit to you for all the great work and videos that you're putting out so consistently. I don't know how you don't get so tired, but I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, and that's a cool comment. Thank you, Chuck. I mean, we at the end of the day, we love doing this. It's it's fun. It's not like work. It's just fun. So, yeah, long may it continue. And as long as Chelsea keep winning, that would be great. We've
It
had enough
would be
drama.
great. It would be great. Eunice, I know that you have a cutoff. You need to go. Thank you so much for being on again. It was so great to have you back on the channel.
No problem.
I'm sure everybody already knows you, but let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, if you don't, right here, Eunice Talks Football. So yeah, obviously we've got the watch along for tonight's game as well as the review straight after, and then it's just keeping up with what's going on. Obviously, the deadline for this whole bidding is Friday, so after that we'll see who's left on the table, and we might get a clear indication. But yeah, I'll be giving my views on Eunice Talks Football. So yeah,
Massive couple of days coming up for the club. If you
Please.
guys aren't following me, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. I promise I'll get Eunice on more as well. It's been too long. We can't let that happen anymore.
That's true.
But make sure to subscribe to the channel. I have a ton of content planned and coming up as well. I also, if you don't like longer videos, I also have lots of really short form videos, 1 minute on Instagram, which have been doing pretty well. So if you want to check it out, please feel free, subscribe. Guys, hope that you enjoyed the stream. Let me know your feedback in the comments section. And yeah, thanks for spending a couple of, well, I was gonna say hours. It's not been hours. It's been, but it's not been a couple of minutes. Thanks for spending a part of your evening with us chatting about Chelsea. I really appreciate it. I hope that you guys enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully, we get a Chelsea win and we move on to the next round of the Champions League. Yeah. All right, guys.
Finals.
That's all I've got. That's all I've got. Have a great rest of your night. And until next time, I'm out. Bye.